You can see how there's blood again. Well, today I decided to forego the fishing. Well, it's quite a bright day, as you can see, but it's bloody gale out there. Well, it's quite warm, but 10 degrees. When I was a keen walker, or hiker, a friend and I, we always called in for a meal at the pub at the end. And if it was available, we always chose steak pie. And the quality of the pie was we used as a sort of measure as to the quality of the pub, whether we were being ripped off or not. And we had some pretty grim offerings. In fact, in one case, the dishes up a supermarket steak pie was absolutely disgusting. And it was all down to the quality of the meat and how well it was cooked. And it's exactly the same with beef stew. I've had some pretty grim offerings in the past, but you don't often see beef stew on pub menus. So what cut of meat do you go for? Well, it's a funny old business, this cuts of meat, because every sort of large country seems to butcher a beast in a totally different way, and they all have different names. But we'll just deal with the United Kingdom, seeing as that's where I am. Maybe, and just give the American variants of them. You often see in shops stewing steak. Well, I avoid it. It covers a multitude of sins. You just don't know what you're getting. It's very similar with braising steak. You know, it can include a multitude of sins. Depends on how much you trust your butcher. The main cuts of meat for slow cooking are cheek, skirt, shin or flank in this country. And braising steak could include any or all of these, as can stewing steak, so it's better to ask for a specific cut. And in the case of beef stew, ideally you want a chuck, or blade steak it's sometimes called. You can use shin. When I was younger, my mother used to make something called beef tea if we were ill, and we were ill a lot of the time. Measles, mumps, chicken pox, you name it, one after the other. And she used to make this beef tea with shin beef. It was like a clear soup. But by the time this shin beef was cooked, we were well again. It took that long. But it was very nice, very tasty. But for decent beef stew, you need to use chuck, or it's sometimes called blade. That's what I'm going to be making today, beef stew, a culinary adventure. Now you can see two diagrams. One of this top one here is how the Americans butcher their animals, and this bottom one here is how the British butcher their animals. And you can see there's a big difference. So if we just have a close-up look at the British one. So if you're looking to make a good steak pie or a good stew, you need this stuff here. Chuck, or it's sometimes called blade, or sometimes it's called shoulder. from there. That's probably the best. You can use shin. It's very tasty, but it takes hours and hours and hours to cook. I mean, this takes a long time to cook, but this stuff here takes much longer. You don't want that. You could get away with brisket, but ideally this is what you want. Chuck or plate. And your best bet is to go at the butcher's and ask specifically for that. And if you can get it in one big piece and dice it yourself, again, that's much better. This is how the Americans do it. The neck and clod are all included in the chuck. So you don't know what you're getting when you ask for chuck. But they use this bottom selling, particularly this little pointy bit at the bottom here. It's called try something or other, I can't remember the exact name of it, but they use that for pies and stews. So these are the ingredients for my beef stew. This is 2 pounds of chuck steak, some parsley which you put in at the end, swede, or as we know it up here, turnip. Probably won't use all of that. Some mushrooms, a couple of onions. I've got 4 decent sized carrots, 4 sticks of celery, 2 beef stock cubes, some Worcester sauce and some thickening gravy powder. And then these are optional. Garlic. I quite like oxo in mine, so some oxo cubes there. Smoked paprika. I've never actually used that before, but I'll give it a go. This is just finely chopped tomatoes. Probably some fancy name. Tomato passata. You can get it in any supermarket. And some cheapo red wine. So there we are, all prepared, ready to go. So 2 pound of chuck steak, half a sweet chopped into decent size lumps. You don't want it too small, otherwise it just ends up as mush. 4 good celery sticks, half a dozen medium sized mushrooms, 4 carrots, again chopped into chunky sized pieces for this stew, 2 large onions, again not too finely diced, I don't know, half a dozen garlic cloves, a couple of beef stock cubes, and at the back sort of other bits which you might put in. Need the Bristol gravy and the Worcester sauce, and then these optional things, these sort of finely chopped tomatoes, cheapo wine, 3 oxo cubes, and this smoked paprika. All that remains to do is cook it. The easiest way to skin these garlic cloves, which can be a real pain, is just to put a knife on it and bash it. And the skin comes off really easily, just having topped and tailed them. Otherwise it can be a right mess on. Well, that's all the ingredients prepared. All we have to do now is cook it. It takes a long time, but at least you're not standing over it watching it. We need to brown the meat first of all, so just put a bit of oil in the pan. Just keep stirring it, otherwise it sticks to the bottom. And season it well with some salt. So I've cooked it for about 10 minutes. And then tip it into the final cooking pot. It's got to be a fair old size to take all this stuff, and it needs a lid. And just deglaze the pan with a suitable glug of red wine. All these bits off. You can just use water for this. What you do is just boil off the alcohol. And just tip that into the big pot. I now need to cook the vegetables, saute the vegetables until they're soft. And they all won't fit in that little pan, so I had to get a bigger one. So I just add a Splash of oil, about a tablespoonful. Don't worry too much about it. And the onions. Celery. Carrots. And the Swede. Put a lid on and then just cook them slowly until they are soft. However long that takes. Just need a bit of seasoning. Salt. And some ground pepper. That'll do it. Oh, the celery is softer than the onions are cooked, so I'll just tip that lot into the large pan. I'll cook the mushrooms separately with the garlic. So just a splash of oil. You can use butter. Mushrooms usually taste better when they're cooked with butter, but I'll just settle for that. And just cook them over a low heat until they're soft. Well, they're about done now, so I just need to add the garlic.
And I'll just cook for about a minute. You don't want to burn this stuff, it tastes blooming horrible. Cook it till you get that nice garlic aroma coming off. That's about a minute. Then you don't want too much heat, or it'll burn it. That smells really nice. I could just do it. I could just eat those without doing anything else. That'll do. Just need to add that to the pot. So I'll just add this, don't put it all in, put half of that. What's that? How much is there in there? 500 grams anyway. Put half of that. And a little red wine. Some Worcester sauce. I've got a litre of beef stock here. I'm not going to put it all in. I'll just put half of it in for now and see how we get on later on. And add some herbs. There's 3 bay leaves there. And some fresh rosemary out the garden. You can use just dried herbs, thyme, marjoram, if you're into Italian food. You can see there that it's not quite covered with the stock. So I'll just put a bit more stock in until it's covered. That'll do. Just stir everything up. It's well mixed. And bring it to the boil. You can add a teaspoonful of smoked paprika at this point, but I don't think I'll bother. I think I'll leave it out. I don't think it's necessary. I've just begun to boil now, so I reduce the heat right down. I just want to cook it really slowly. How long does it take? Well, it takes as long as it does until the meat is tender, which could take a couple of hours depending on what particular cut of meat you're using. But I check it every half an hour just to make sure that everything is okay. Anyway, just put the lid on and leave it. Well, it's been simmering away here for about an hour and a quarter, and the meat is almost tender. probably just needs a little bit more. At this point you could add baby potatoes to it and give it another half an hour for the potatoes to cook, but I like my stew with mashed potatoes. Anyway, I'll just leave it for another quarter of an hour and then check again. It's been going for an hour and a half now, so just find a piece of meat and see what it's like. Just falling to bits. So, that'll do it. All that remains to do now is take out all these bits. Remove the bay leaves. Another one in here somewhere. There it is. And all I've got to do now is thicken it. Well, you can make your own thickening by using flour and butter, make your own roux. You look that up, how to make a roux, easy enough. But it's a lot easier if you use something which is ready-made. And I like Bisto, so I'll make that up now and put it in, thicken it up. As they say in the advert, it browns, seasons and thickens. That'll do me. So I've got 3 heaped teaspoonfuls of original Bisto in there. Just add a little bit of water just to make it into a cream, and then add it very slowly, dribble it in. If you just tip it in, it just sets like a big lump of jelly. It'll probably need more, but we'll just start off with 3 teaspoons. And just dribble it in. Stirring as we go. It just needs a little bit more. That'll do it. There it is, beef stew. Piece of meat there, just falling to bits. Wonderful. And it seems to be seasoned just about right, which is nice. And it smells absolutely delicious. All that remains to do now is to portion it up. I don't know how many portions there'll be in there. We'll find out later. Well, there you have it, beef stew. I've got that. Oh, what can I say? Absolutely delicious. Well worth the effort. That's how much wine went into the beef stew. The rest of it is for drinking. The other disappointment, which you get sometimes in meals, is the mashed potato. The world's worst is when it's obviously made from dried powdered potato. It's absolutely awful. But I mean, I can't understand why people can't make mashed potatoes. It's an absolute doddle. But this is how I do it. When it comes to choice of potatoes, I don't think it makes that much difference, unless you're very fussy. These are just ordinary, what supermarkets call white potatoes. These are Morris Piper, which are more expensive. But you say that Morris Piper are better than the ordinary white potatoes, but when the main meal consists of beef stew or whatever, I don't think it makes that a vast lot of difference. I cut them into slices, I don't cut them into great big chunks. Just evenly slice them. So they're all sort of even thickness. If you put them into big chunks, then you don't get that. The other thing is, don't peel them too thickly. There's a layer around the outside which contains most of the protein in potatoes. This middle bit is nearly all solid carbohydrate. So if you peel them thickly, you take away a lot of the goodness of the potato. So cook them in cold water and add a bit of salt. And just bring them up to the boil. They've just started boiling now, so just turn down the heat. It doesn't take as long as you think. Well, they've been on for 12 minutes. As you can see, they just break up. If you leave them for any longer, they just disintegrate. You end up with mush. So just drain them off. Just add some butter. How much you put in depends upon how much you like the stuff. And the state of your health. Just leave that to melt. I've just add a splash of milk, or cream if you're so inclined, but be very careful how much you put in. If you put too much in, you just end up with something akin to wallpaper paste. And then mash it with a potato masher. Never use a blender, you just end up with awful stuff. So this has done me well. I've had this for 53 years, bought it in Woolworths. So that's the texture I like. My mashed potatoes. You could add a bit more milk if you wanted. Make them a bit softer. But with the beef stew and all that gravy, that is spot on. So there you have it. Beef stew, that lovely rich gravy, mashed potato, and a little bit of broccoli and cauliflower, just to make up the 5 a day. You could at this point sprinkle some chopped parsley on it, but I don't think it needs that. So I'll go and enjoy that. Well, there we are, another culinary adventure finished. The next one I think is liver and onions. I've got some liver in the fridge there that I'm going to have to cook with some Brussels sprouts. I like them. Anyway, we'll see you again on one of these. For the moment, take care. Bye bye.